Oh, I was meant to tell you this about my dream.
Good.
Lads, I'm not sure whether you will be able to handle it or not, though. It was quite frightening. I mean, I woke up genuinely disturbed.
You'd bought Destiny 2.
not quite. It was even weirder than that. Now, nobody ever actually said this during the dream, but it's more a general feeling I got. I'm pretty sure I dreamt I was British.
Oh my God.
So the first tip off.
You're not British?
Go fuck yourself, Josh. The first tip off was that I was playing for the English football team.
That's a dead giveaway.
And it was really...
This isn't right.
It was... I'm not sure if it was like the England international team or if it was some kind of like retired legends, English legends, which is even more frightening in a way, you know, that I might have had a full career as an English player and then been playing for a legend side for them. It's horrifying. But the temporary manager of Everton there for a couple of weeks, I came on to replace him, a guy called David Unsworth. I think I replaced him at right back, which is really weird because I'm a centre back and I believe he's a centre back too. So it made no sense. But lads, what can you do? Dreams alone. You know, well, that's all I remember from the football.
That took me out of the dream. I don't believe it anymore. Center back, come on.
Well, that was the football segment, and then there was like some kind of James Bond sequence going on, and I couldn't tell whether I was James Bond in the sequence, and if I was being like, I think I was being trailed by some other super spy, obviously down a kind of windy road. It could have been in Edinburgh or somewhere, and it was just this constant feeling of I'm not supposed to be here. And as I say, I can't tell whether that was because someone was trying to kill me or if because, as I say, I was actually English.
Did you just watch Goldeneye or something?
No, I hadn't at all. No idea where it came out. Maybe I was really deathly ill. Maybe I almost died.
You know what they say, though? If you ever aren't sure that you're James Bond, you're not James Bond.
Yeah,
I think that's
James Bond's probably there, and he's going to save your life in about a minute or two.
Oh, it's not me. Yeah. Thanks, though.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's an extremely British dream.
Yeah,
Stevo.
I know. I don't know where it came out of. I must have been drinking too much. Clearly.
And welcome to episode 16 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how we'd rather be playing games than
freezing various parts of my sanity off.
Sanity freeze?
I was going to say body parts, but then I didn't want to insert that mental image this early. And so I was like,
we don't want to go
sanity.
with body parts too early.
Yeah. You got to warm people up to that.
I'm Josh.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo.
I'm very sorry to hear about your poor sanity, Elliot.
Did you lose a body part or did you not?
I'm very close to it. I'm very close. It's winter now, guys. It's December, and in Pennsylvania, it gets very cold. And our house that we're renting is at least 120 years old, and there's no insulation, and it's multiple floors and therefore costs. And this is the first time we've lived in a place that wasn't a 1-bedroom apartment, and it costs a lot of money to heat this property. So I keep the heat off, and I just carry a space heater around with me. So I work from home. In my office that I have at home, I just shut the door, I plug the bottom up, and then I have the space heater running, and it gets up to 70 degrees and it's very comfortable. But then when I have to go to the bathroom, you enter this frigid wasteland of it drops 25 degrees.
Elliot, I just love this. this idea of you picking up the space heater and plugging it in, like bringing an extension cord into the bathroom with you, and just so that you can have the heat while you're taking a dump. Oh,
he just turns into.
I should have just said using the facilities. You can edit that out.
He just turns into George Costanza when he leaves the room.
No, come on, what? That's much too general a Seinfelder. I know lots of it. Seinfeld.
I was
references.
in the pool.
He knows what he means.
Shrinkage.
Oh, shrinkage.
Come on.
I thought
That was pretty obvious, I thought.
But hang on, isn't it the water as well?
It's about the water.
Yeah.
It's the water and the cold.
But
it's because the water's cold.
But the word association is George Costanza and shrinkage.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. You win.
That's all right. Sorry.
The joke's gone now. We had to explain it. So
I actually don't carry it around with me. I just kind of like dart in, like from room to room, or like I go down, refill my water, and then run back up, and then I'm like blue, like shaking the frost out of my hair, and I'll turn on the heat like when Amy gets home in the evening, and we're like watching TV and stuff. But like, why would I heat the whole house when I'm in one room for 90% of the day? So it sucks because we sleep with the space heater as well. So when you get up first thing, you're like, oh, this is fine. And you go to the bathroom and it's hell on earth. Wow. And then you go back into the bedroom when you're done and you're like, well, I'm clearly not going to get up today. I'm going to go back under the covers. Yes. And it takes a long time to kind of face the day. But that's my life now.
Yeah, I pretty much only heat the house when Lily's at home. Otherwise, I just sit here and freeze, and I got blankets. So
I should get more blankets.
My thermostat's set at a toasty 73 constantly, lads. I just don't want to leave my apartment in general, but I'm as happy on the sofa as I am in my bed. It's excellent. Yeah. Come on, round.
We took that for granted, and I think you are too. So I'm letting you know that it's good right now, Stevo. It's good right now.
Well, I'm living in a major city, so I'm probably going to be renting for another while yet. When I decide to move to the middle of nowhere to a giant old house, I'll let you know.
I really should have done
that. Possibly.
It's got its ups and downs, and the cost to heat is a down. So, anyway.
It's not been all bad, Elliot.
Video games, right?
Yes, exactly. Video games. You've had a bit of freedom recently, and rumor has it you've been playing a lot of games.
Rumor has it, yes. Amy went out of town, and I played. I have like no attention span. I'm looking at this list that I wrote down of games that I played, and it's a lot of games that I just played a few minutes of, or a few hours of, in fairness. I beat a game.
I refuse to believe it.
I did. It's a game I've been playing off and on for like a year and a half, and I got there.
What is it?
So, drum roll. No.
Yeah, seriously, don't keep us in suspense.
I beat Lara Croft Go.
Okay.
No, it counts.
So not really a game then. A mobile game.
Are you kidding me? It's totally
it took
a game.
You that long? I beat that like forever ago.
But they keep adding like shit to it.
Oh, I just beat the main one. That one and what was the Deus Ex? No, not Deus Ex. Hitman Go.
Hitman Go. I just got because it came on sale on iOS, and I'm looking forward to that one because I've heard that one's actually really good, and I heard this one was good too, but I heard that one's really good.
I preferred Hitman to Lara Croft.
Lara Croft was awesome. It was really well done.
What did you play it on, Elliot?
A puzzle game on my iPhone and iPad. Like it syncs the saves.
And it's like a puzzle type game, puzzle strategy, or how would you describe it?
Exactly that way. It's a puzzle strategy. You move Lara Croft from like square to square to square, and every time you move, there's like other things going on, like maybe platforms sliding around or enemies moving around, and they all make their move when you make your move. And then everything freezes again, and you have to pull switches sometimes. There's enemies at one point later in the game that, after like 3 or 4 turns, they like regenerate and come back together, and you kind of have to work that timing into the solution. And there were some that had me up against a wall for weeks, especially the very last one. I was having a hard time. But then I played it last night. And I was like, holy shit, I beat it. I got the credits. I was so thrilled. And it was very, like, I think I paid 99 cents for it. And the value I got out of it was exponential compared to that. So great game. If you haven't played it, it's a great one to just like pick up. And like I said, I've been playing it off and on for over a year. So you just like, when you get a free minute on the subway or waiting for a bus, you can.
And it's all turn-based. You can take as long as you like with each individual move.
Yep.
That's a perfect game for playing on the go then, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Once you've made one move, like the action all freezes, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, value-wise, it's a pretty good series so far. I haven't played the Deus Ex one, but Hitman and Lara Croft were both pretty good.
Yeah, I picked up Hitman Go on the Vita and was thinking that maybe I would play it here and there while traveling, so might give it a go. But then again, I might just pick up one of them on Android for when I'm waiting in the metro, as you say.
It's a good, like, it's a meaty game, and it's not like funded by like stupid, like, you know, every mobile game these days is free to play bullshit and loot whatever, and it's not that. It's an actual self-contained, pay it once, play it through the end. Very meaty, very difficult, very like satisfying, but still simple, quick pick up and play. It's a great like cross section of all the things that you need.
Yeah.
Good times for sure.
So what else was on your ADHD list?
All right, I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly because there's a lot of them.
And because you didn't play much of them.
And I didn't play them. Okay, so there's two that I want to spend more time on, and I'll start with those. Divinity Original Sin, the first one, which I got on PS4 way back when we all like decided we're gonna play it together and never did.
Yep.
I've mentioned like a few weeks before that I was starting on Pillars of Eternity, and Divinity Original Sin is kind of in a similar like isometric turn-based RPG style, and people were kind of talk that one up a little bit more, and I was like, I've already got it. I was debating getting it on PC. Maybe that's why I wasn't playing it much, because of the stupid controller. I was like, no, I'll give it another chance. I'm not going to double dip for a game I'm not even playing.
It plays pretty well on the PlayStation.
It does. Like the first time I played it, it put me off really bad, and I think it's because I was just coming off of Diablo 3, which is so much faster paced and also an isometric game, but not turn-based. Getting a little like separation from Diablo 3 and trying it again, whole new appreciation, seeing it in a whole new light. And not only that, but for the first time in a long time, I did remote play with my Vita and played it on the Vita, which is amazing for Divinity Original Sin.
That's a good point.
Just having it on the tiny screen and like, you know, because you can like move the character around the joystick, or you can like find where they want to go and tap that and then have them like,
oh, it's got touch controls. That's really
no. Sorry, I didn't mean tap. I meant like hit the X button.
Okay. Yeah. You really confused me there.
Yeah. I definitely see that. But and, you know, and have them walk that way and then like set the Vita down and like get on your phone or something and then come back, and I don't know. It was
you have no attention
span whatsoever.
But I actually have Divinity Original Sin on the PS4 as well. I think I picked it up for $7 at some point, or so.
I don't think it's ever been that cheap.
No. Okay.
No, I think it was $7.50 at one point for.
Was it? No way.
Maybe I could be wrong, but I picked it up cheap at one point because I already own it on PC and beat the hell out of it on PC, but I definitely picked it up for cheap on PS4 at one point.
We are all the worst. We're all talking about buying the same game on both
multiple times,
PS4 and PC. Well, Elliot, I'll definitely jump in and play a bit of that with you when you're playing.
Do you only have it on PS4 or do you have it on PC as well?
I have it on both.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one of the series I don't mind double dipping on, though.
And it's the kind of game, like I keep telling myself, it's the kind of game that just lends itself to mouse and keyboard really well. And so I keep saying, like, maybe that's why I wasn't getting into it. But being able to take it on the go not on the go, but like, you know, walk around the house and stuff, not be anchored to my PC.
Yeah. Or while somebody else is watching the TV, or while you are watching the TV.
Like remote play is so good for those slow paced, turn based games. You can't really play shooters on them or anything, but really enjoying it. It's a hilarious game, and looking forward to playing some more. The other one is The Last Guardian, which came out.
I saw you popping up on PSN playing that.
Yeah, so I got it on Black Friday. It came on like at Best Buy, like Gamers Club like $15, and I got a $15 coupon for getting Mario Odyssey, so it was like free. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this came out almost exactly a year ago, and I loved Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and this game is really good. It's kind of resonating in a like I feel myself getting emotionally like growing more and more emotionally attached to the creature and the characters, and
mission accomplished. Then
I'm afraid I'm going to be
so I feel like this is definitely a game that needs a description.
Yeah.
So the last Guardian is a game about a little boy and his giant flying dog.
He doesn't fly, but yes,
he's got wings.
Very like, well, I'm not that far yet, so
okay.
If they grow back,
so maybe he doesn't have wings.
Like, he can kind of like hover glide a little bit, but they're like the wing. He does have wings, but they're really fucked up.
Okay, they're mostly for decoration. We get it.
They look fabulous.
But it's like an adventure game. It's
a puzzle adventure game, much like Shadow Colossus and Ico. So you're adventuring through the world and you're trying to accomplish these various tasks to just proceed, and a lot of them just have, like a complex solution. So it's kind of a puzzles built into the world pretty seamlessly. If you've played either Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, it controls almost the exact same way, in that same kind of slightly annoying, like delayed way that he kind of jumps, and you feel his like imbalance when he's walking around and stuff.
Now you got to give orders to something that doesn't want to listen to you.
And you have to give orders to the creature, which he gets better at over time as the bond between the creature and the boy grows deeper.
Right.
And it's kind of beautiful to see that happen. Like, because the most amazing takeaway for me for this game is how fucking like real the creature is. Like, you look like you're looking at a puppy. You've seen a puppy like have that look, turn his head, react in the same way when you shout at him, react in the same way when he gets scared. Like, you've seen just like the little mannerisms, the little twitches that they put into it is so detailed. And I just keep thinking, like, this was programmed, like the AI, like, how did this game ever get made with the attention to like, just like the detail and how subtle it all is.
Yeah. Elliot, this is giving me chills because Nisha recently got a dog 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I've never had a dog myself, and I've really enjoyed the fact that just meeting a dog, like just hanging around with a dog. I know I sound like such a weirdo and like so completely clueless, because I am, but I've really been like getting to know her dog and appreciating when you go around, like when I go around to visit her, and just that the dog knows me.
Yeah.
Just that the dog likes me. Just that the dog wants to hang around me. And even though I'm not feeding it, I'm not taking care of it, I'm just some dude who's hanging out. It's like,
yeah.
But this is a game that I'm gonna try and get Nisha to sit down and play with me. Her dog BB can hang out too while we play.
Why not?
But
Why not?
I'm definitely gonna get her to play this, because I have heard that. I've heard it's the AI is amazing and it is very lifelike, and that people who have animals or have had animals have real emotional resonance with this game. It's exactly that. It's the like I said, I keep repeating myself, but it's the little details, the subtlety, and like you see the personality in the animal, like just like you would a dog. There's just little touches, like you walk too far out on a ledge and the creature's watching you, and it'll just start like whining at you, like, because it's afraid for you. And it's like, man, he loves me. Like, he wants me to be okay. And it's just like, it really strikes you. And if that creature dies by the end of the game, I'm going to be so upset. Like, I kind of want to know so I can just stop playing, because I don't think I can handle that. Well, I hope that's not the case. And just in case it is, we're going to edit this out, so that if Nisha happens to listen to this episode of the podcast, that she doesn't think that's even a possibility. So I can still play the game with her.
Good to know. It's I highly recommend it. It in gameplay wise, it plays like an exact like a Venn diagram of Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. Like the way you run around with the boy is exactly like Eco, and the way you climb the creature is exactly like Shadow of the Colossus. It's a really good like ultimate like not swan song, I guess, but just like a culmination of everything Fumito Ueda, is that that guy's name, has worked on since like Eco, since the PS2 first came out.
It's probably a swan song. I'm glad it finally came out. I mean, it took so long. I can't believe they're going to pay for another one.
I was going to say swan song until that announcement at PSX that they're doing Last Guardian VR. Oh. So they're still working on some things.
It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine Shadow of the Colossus VR.
Dude. Oh, yeah. And Shadow of the Colossus is getting remade as well. So
yep, it is.
They're still doing shit. Easier shit, but they're still doing it. But Last Guardian, highly recommended. I'm not done with it yet. I kind of slowed down a bit towards the end there, and I started focusing back on Divinity. But
Elliot, you're getting through a narrative game. Get it finished, for God's sake.
I should. Yeah, it's one of those things you get stuck on a puzzle, and like you don't ever want to stop playing for the day when you're stuck on a puzzle. You want to stop as soon as you solve it, so you can, because otherwise you're going to think, what do I have to do next? You're like, shit, I'm stuck. I'm not going to play. But
and remind me to pick it up around Christmas before we start hashtag no game purchases 2018.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, New Year's resolutions. So I'll take a break from talking. What have you guys been playing,
Josh?
Again, I'm still moving into this house and all that, so my time's been kind of limited, but I did pick up a few stuff during the sales and started playing. I got the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 collection for PS4.
Oh, yeah. Did you have those on PS3?
No, I did not. Cool. And the last Kingdom Hearts game I played was the original one on PS2. So, kind of always
played 2?
Nope, never played 2.
Oh, cool.
So does this one catch you up?
So this one has 4 full games and 2 like videos like of cinematics from 2 other games. So it's got the original Kingdom Hearts 2, the remake of Chain of Memories, which was a GBA game, and then it also has Birth by Sleep, I think. Yeah. So which was a PSP game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird name for a game.
You don't know the half. All the Kingdom Hearts games after like 1 and 2 have ridiculously stupid names, like Dream Drop Distance, 358 days over 2, or no, 358 over 2 days.
I think it's days over 2.
So it's like they don't know what they're doing when it comes to naming the games. But yeah, they're fun games, and my nephew was he played through the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 1 while he was here.
Whoa.
Yeah, he just kind of plowed through it.
Proud mode?
No, regular mode. But yeah, so I started.
Wait, what was that? What mode?
Proud
mode. It's like hard mode.
Hard mode.
And it's really hard because Kingdom Hearts 1 is pretty bad.
Did you just... His nephew got through a game. Elliot, who gets through no games, like, hard mode? No? Fuck that guy.
Never mind.
But so I played a little bit of the original Kingdom Hearts because it's been so long since I played it. I figured I'd just start over at the beginning.
Proud mode?
No.
Oh.
So did some of that. I also picked up Star Ocean 4 because I played played Star Ocean 1, 2, and 3 and liked them all for varying reasons, mostly the gameplay.
Are those JRPGs?
Remaster came out of nowhere.
It did, I know.
Is this a recent remaster of this like really old JRPG series? Of not even the most recent like entry, but like the second most recent entry of a really old JRPG series that like no one's.
It came to the US on Xbox 360, and that was it.
Oh, that was the 360 one.
Actually,
it was both. It eventually came to PS3.
Did the Last Hope International eventually come here? I guess
it
International.
Did.
Yeah.
So Last Hope did, but Tales of Vesperia did not.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So this is a remaster of the PS3 game that came out. And it's the Star Ocean series is like this usually sprawling space opera. The characters are usually kind of annoying. maybe a couple decent ones here and there. The stories are kind of all right. But then like the main draw is the combat system, which is whenever you get into a fight, you have like a field you can run around and it's all active battling. There's no turns. It's just you go and you start attacking and doing whatever you can with whatever resources you've got to win the fight. So they're usually pretty entertaining. So I figured I'd pick this one up and give it a shot. Despite, I mean, if it's a Star Ocean game, I kind of know what I'm getting into as far as story wise and all that. So it's not like I'm going to be surprised when the annoying characters show up.
And the battle system is like, it's kind of similar to Grandia and I guess Grandia and
Grandia is turn-based.
Oh, is Star Ocean not turn-based at all?
No, Star Ocean is you have full control over your character. You run around, you swing your sword.
Oh, Tales. Is that what I'm thinking of? Like Tales of Symphonia, you can run around as well?
Yeah, Tales. It's like Tales, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's it should be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm a little bit of the ways in. Other than that, I did pick up 20XX for Steam.
Yeah,
which
is about this.
It's like a Mega Man roguelike type game. Which is, I'm not a huge fan of roguelikes, but I am a huge fan of Mega Man games, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And I played a little bit of it earlier today before we started recording, and made it to like the 5th boss before dying. It's fun. I like it. It's kind of looks a little bit like a Flash animation, but other than that, it plays just like you would a Mega Man X game with wall jumps, dash jumps, charging your buster, and you pick it. You don't necessarily get weapons from beating bosses. I mean, you do, but you don't have to pick it up. You can choose like a different power up or something like that. And the order in which you fight everything is pretty much randomized each time. It's interesting. If you like Mega Man games, I'd at least recommend picking it up on a sale or something. But,
is it procedurally generated like other roguelikes?
So every time you beat a level, you can choose the next level out of 3. It gives you 3 options. You could choose the next one. And then within each level, I think there's some randomization of how the level's generated, but I think there's certain aspects that you'll see, certain sections that might appear somewhat similarly. Regardless, it's this general same stuff you'll find in Mega Man: disappearing platforms, moving platforms, a bunch of elevators and things like that. So it's definitely got the heart of Mega Man. We'll see how long it keeps my interest, but I have enjoyed it so far.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, it was on Steam, and I saw it on a sale, and I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember hearing about this. Let me pick that up. But I bought some other stuff. We could talk about that later. But for now, though, Stevo, what have you been playing?
I have mostly been playing. I jumped back into Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
After I finished up Nier, and the reason I did that was because I heard it was a potential contender for Game of the Year. I heard a lot of people talking about it. It's meant to have a pretty impactful story. It's about a girl who is living in a dystopian future where there are giant robot dinosaurs roaming the planet, and people live in matriarchal tribes. It's basically bow and arrow, spear, kind of, not much technology on that side, but it's really fun. It plays a lot like a Tomb Raider game. Kind of slow pace. You pick your shots with an arrow, with a bow and arrow, until the shit starts to go down and all these giant robot dinosaurs are attacking you, and it's really, really fun. It's
robot dinosaurs.
Robot dinosaurs. You can't beat it.
You had me at, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most fun things about the robot dinosaurs is similar to an Ubisoft game or Zelda, where the way that you reveal the map is climbing a giant tower. The way to do that is to climb a giant walking robot dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it is so satisfying. Basically, the only little puzzle about it is what part of the map do you have to run from and time your jump as the robot dinosaur is doing his lap to be able to grab onto him and climb up him. Every time you go to climb him, as far as I can tell, it's just the same climbing every time. But it's still fun. It's still entertaining every time you do it. And it's just a really well-made game. The voice acting is great. The side quests have taken a bit of a leaf out of the Witcher 3 book. They try to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
They're varied characters. They'll have a plot twist thrown in here and there. It's a really good game. Also, I get the feeling similar to Nier that there is a major plot twist coming. And I kind of think I already know what it is. But I hope that, like Nier, even if that plot twist turns out to be a major story beat, that there will also be other major plot twists and other major story beats after it that will keep me entertained the whole way through, and that will make for a satisfying experience altogether. But highly recommend it. Josh, have you been playing a bit of it?
I need to get back to it. I played maybe, I don't know, 15 hours of it or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I mean, the Horizon's great, and for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. The same thing happens to me whenever I play a game like this with Horizon, Witcher 3, or a Far Cry or something. Is I have to go explore and do all the side shit before I go back to doing the main stuff. Yeah. So I'm a little behind. I mean, I think I've climbed maybe 2 towers, so I'm not terribly far in.
Yeah,
but I've at least left the first main area, and have opened up the world a little bit. But
I think I left it at the same point for the same reason. I got a bit sidetracked doing side stuff.
Oh, there's corruption over here. Oh, there's bandits over here. Oh, I got to go free these guys. All right, cool.
And then I was like, oh, something else came out, and I had to go play it all the way through. But now, it's funny that you mentioned the side stuff, because I went back into it this time going, this is a potential game of the year. I'm going to play it through. No messing about. Just main quests. I'm going to do it. And I started off that way, and then I was like, but the side quests are so fun. you know? They're so interesting. Like the hunting missions where you have to take down a certain number of a certain type of robot dinosaur with a certain weapon. They're really satisfying to get them within the time. And what else have I been doing? Again, a few of the side quests here and there. I am going to try and mainline it, because I do want to have it done before we have our Game of the Year discussion on next episode.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah,
maybe I'll do that too. Maybe when we're done here and you guys go play Halo Reach, I'll go play some Horizon.
Elliot will never play Halo Reach. He only plays MMOs. Elliot has spent the last 2 weeks since we last recorded trying to convince me and Josh to play MMOs with him.
No, just Destiny. Okay, and the Division had a free weekend that was harmless, which I played, and it just like, so the Division, Destiny's been, and this kind of segues, Destiny's been like basically crap, and the expansions recently came out for Destiny, and it's just every decision Bungie's making about Destiny is just the most anti-consumer you can get. They've really taken a lot of the heat off of EA.
Yeah, that's true.
They're so nice.
So besides like the XP shit where they made it take longer for you to accumulate XP, and the only reason to get XP after you've maxed out your guy is to like get these like cosmetic upgrades, which the only other way to get them is to pay for them with real world money.
Yeah, they're basically loot boxes too.
So by slowing down the rate that you naturally get EXP, it sounds like they're making people want to pay for it.
So anyway, they were throttling it, wasn't that right?
Yeah.
Oh, they were actually telling you, they were popping up on the screen that you were getting this number of XP, and you actually weren't. People were noticing that the first time they did this type of mission, it would say you've got 5,000 XP, and they could see a big chunk of their XP bar filling up. And then the next time they did it, it would say 5,000 and only give them a little sliver. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is going on here?
It's just lying to them, and it's I mean, why would you do that? So, and then they had this big they released a blog saying like, we hear you, which they don't really talk to people like the like gamers and consumers very much. They don't update them. Like there's so many things that people are crying for that they're not doing. In general, when Destiny 1 came out, they fixed a lot of things. And now that Destiny 2 is out, a lot of the things they fixed, they've rolled back on. And so that's just kind of the general thing that people are.
Well, they're doing this. They're doing the same shit in a slightly different fashion. So like in the original Destiny, when new DLC would come out, it would lock players out of doing certain things. Like, so Crucible, which is the PvP mode in Destiny, Like there were certain modes of Crucible that would get locked out because you would have players playing with content from the DLC and they didn't want them playing with players who did not have the DLC.
Yeah.
And so in Destiny 2, what they're doing now is when the DLC came out, they raised the maximum level to, I think, like 330 instead of 305. But so what they did is now the hard mode of the raids, which were called prestige mode, it used to have a cap of, or it used to have a requirement of having, I think, 300 level. Or something like that. And now with the DLC, that increased to like 330 or something like that. So now people who don't have the DLC, it's impossible for them to reach 330. So they can no longer do the prestige mode of the raid, which
is just crap. And
yeah.
And that technically locks the platinum trophy behind DLC, which
really?
Yeah, you can no longer like 100% the game if you didn't already do it. And if you bought the PC version, it's only been out for 6 fucking weeks. Like you didn't have a chance before you had to.
It's not like you could have bought it a few months ago on console. But even then, to go from overnight, even if someone had just purchased this on Black Friday, that it went basically overnight from they got all the content that they paid for to, that thing that you could have pressed X on and started playing with your friends, you cannot do that today.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's so anti-consumer.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
It boggles the mind why they would do something like that. And so so this expansion is out and you can kind of see them slowly in their blog they're talking about all the stuff they're going to fix, and it's generally steps in the right direction. And the expansion kind of addresses that, but all we're seeing is them kind of fixing the problems that they had already fixed in Destiny 1.
Yeah,
and rolled
they
back
knew
in
this
Destiny
shit was
2.
a problem, and they still did it anyway.
Slowly, it's just weird. Like, who is running this?
It's funny you say that, though, Elliot, about it going back to Destiny 1 style, because I heard another big thing that people are complaining about since Curse of Osiris, the expansion, came out, was that it's completely lacking in story. So whereas Destiny 2 came out, and they had a villain. I actually played, Elliot convinced me to play through the first couple of missions, and the cutscenes were fun, and their bad guy seemed, oh wow, this is a real villain in Destiny. I might actually be interested. Maybe I want to take this guy down, kind of thing, you know? Yeah. And apparently the expansion has none of that.
Well, yeah, and the expansions in the original didn't do anything with that either. It was all like, I mean, granted, I stopped playing after the second expansion, but I was just like,
I think actually one of the expansions,
it was the one after the one I stopped, I think.
One of the expansions apparently did more for the story in Destiny than, it was the Taken King, wasn't it? Did more for the story in Destiny than all of the other content put together from what I heard.
Yeah, before the Taken King was basically like, okay, we've got a new raid, and yes, the boss you're going to fight has something to do with the lore, but go kill him.
And that's exactly what this latest expansion for Destiny 2 is. It's like, oh, there's this big bad guy and he does this thing and this is really important, and then you go kill him. And it's like, there's nothing about how he got his powers or, you know, where he came from. Or, okay, I'm paraphrasing because I haven't actually played this, so I shouldn't go too far into it. But it's crazy that they would go from starting off promisingly saying, this is new, this is an amazing epic story and beautiful music, and then to just going, oh, fight this thing. It just doesn't seem like a good step.
Yeah, and it's this from the company that built the Halo world with the rich story and lore in there that they had in there, and it's like, and that's what people were hoping for. Like, we want the same gunplay and we want the same amazing like sci-fi space story, and they just, man, like reading the Blood, Sweat, and Pixel story on Destiny 1, how they just like the biggest conflict was like, where's the story? Where's like internally the guys trying to decide missions, like going to the story leaders, like, what's the story? And they're like, we'll get to it. Where's the story? Like, we'll let you know. And then the people doing the story would close the doors and just have their like elite group figure out the story. And then when they came out with one, it was just garbage. And months before release, they had to redo the whole thing. It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's like, I'm getting more and more upset that I spent like that I bought it so early on. I didn't pay full price, but it was pretty close. And I'm just like, should have fucking waited or not got it at all. Because this is anti-consumer bullshit. Like
I enjoyed my time, but I figured this something sort of thing would happen. I played a ton of it. I got my money's worth. I'm good. So
yeah, and I'm pretty much getting my money's worth as well. There's a free trial now. I'll play to level 7 with Elliot and or Josh and give it up, and I'll be like, yeah, that's good. So I'll go back to single player games.
Yeah.
If you guys got this, if you bought the season pass, enjoy Destiny 2. If you didn't, I hope you enjoyed your time.
I really hope it gets better, but they don't deserve anyone's money right now. And I think maybe eventually it'll be okay, but it's
maybe they could pull a Diablo 3. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it is like Activision, so they did it before. Even though it's had so many problems, it was nominated for quite a bit of awards at the Game Awards.
Segway.
Yeah, baby.
It was.
Nominated.
It was not. I don't think it won a single thing, did it?
It didn't, no.
Don't think so, no.
It did not.
Yeah, so we watched the Game Awards, the like 4th annual Game Awards.
And before we get going, can we just say this is the best one I've seen?
This was really good. This
they
is
actually
the only
did a
one
good
I've
job.
watched. Like when it was the Spike VGAs, you'd turn it on and just see like Mountain Dew ads and like bros and like
But guys, there were a lot of ads.
Sure.
You know, and so I agree. I thought it was great. I thought a lot of the winners were well deserved. I thought a lot of the awards that they actually gave out were good awards and interesting awards. I also thought a lot of them were like, what the hell is that doing in there?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's getting better. Like if you look at what it was before, when it was pretty much pandering to what they thought was the stereotypical gamer and was maybe just like 10% niche gamer of just like the Mountain Dew Doritos bullshit. And they're trying to recognize the art more. They're trying to recognize like the industry icons. They're trying to recognize the indies more, the best student game. It's going in the right direction, and it was really entertaining. There was one thing that bothered me, like that was just way out of place, and that was the live orchestra, which was amazing, except for like in front standing up, like the violinists were all like crop top sexy girls playing their instruments.
Yeah.
Like what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And then you had like
kind of booth babesy, is it?
Yeah, it was not necessary. There was no place for that. And you had the actual like normal musicians just like sitting there doing their thing, and then the pretty girls and the makeup and the skin showing like with the big grins on their face and their weird like futuristic looking electric violins. I don't know. It was like, why did you need to do that? But other than that, the orchestra did sound good. The live music was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
It was a great touch, but
so I mean, they had a lot of good, like you mentioned, there were a lot of good awards, and I think a lot of things deserved it. And can I just say I'm really happy that Nier at least won Best Music, because I saw the list and I was like, it better win this.
Who was it up against for music?
I was like Persona 5. Who else was it? It was hold on. Persona 5, Cuphead, Destiny 2, Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild.
Oh man, I can't believe Odyssey didn't win music.
Oh, it's because you haven't heard the Nier soundtrack.
Yeah, you haven't played Nier.
Fair enough.
Worthy winner. It constantly took my breath away, and constantly a kick in the chest when you forgot it was even there. It's brilliant.
I mean, the music from the first Nier was probably my favorite soundtrack in the whole PS3 generation. So it doesn't. If I assume they got the same people doing that for Nier 2. Good.
So yeah, do we just want to blitz these?
Yeah, sounds. Yeah.
Okay, so Trending Gamer is
Trending Gamer was again one of those weird kind of like it's not. I mean, it's gaming related, but it's not about a game specifically. So, but then after that, they started getting into the more general, like best music. We talked about it was Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Then they go into best mobile gaming, which was nice to see, because I mean, mobile gaming is definitely a big part of the game industry at this point. I mean, what for better or for worse, but there are good games that are being developed for the mobile game space.
Do you think it should be separate? Again, mobile gaming isn't what we're talking about.
I mean, I played the original Monument Valley. I also played Fire Emblem Heroes for a little bit.
Yeah.
And got really fucking bored with it. And
there
then
are some really good ones.
I played Hidden Folks. I didn't play Old Man's Journey, and I played the free part of Super Mario Run before deciding I'm not giving Nintendo $10 for an endless runner.
Yeah.
So Monument Valley 2 won. And I haven't played the second one yet, but if it's anything like the first one, I can see why it won. The first one was fantastic.
Yeah, I was very surprised actually that a Nintendo game didn't win there. Super Mario Run, lots of people enjoyed it. Fire Emblem Heroes, from what I heard, people who like Fire Emblem were all about
Fire
it.
Emblem Heroes is another gacha game, like
It's
we
a
talked
gacha
about last
game,
time. So it's okay if you like Fire Emblem. It's a very stripped down version of Fire Emblem.
Yeah, but Monument Valley 2 actually is a game developed from the ground up to be a piece of art on its own. So I was happy to see it win.
Yeah.
I didn't play the second one, but I loved the first one. I just blitzed it like one evening laying in bed.
Too.
It's like, oh shit, that was awesome. And then I bought the expansion and beat that. That was actually the last mobile game I beat before Lara Croft.
In case you were wondering what Elliot was doing while he wasn't playing console games, he was beating mobile games.
Yep. You gotta beat something. Like mobile games get a bad rap, and rightfully so, because they're very predatory a lot of the times. But sometimes like they're really good when they're standalone single player experiences, like Monument Valley, like little puzzle games you can pick up and go.
Yeah.
They're great and they deserve to be recognized.
I would recommend Hidden Folks if you guys get the chance. It's basically like a Where's Waldo type game.
Yep.
And it's fun to pass the time with. It's little endearing white or a little black and white characters. I mean, well, the entire thing's black and white. But it's just got a little bit of charm to it. I liked it. It was relatively short, and some of the things you've got to find can be pretty frustrating. But for the most part, it was a good game. I liked it, and I think they're still adding levels to it.
That's kind of cool.
I don't think
check
I've
that one
heard
out
of
as
that.
well.
So next up is the best VR AR game, which is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, which I've played a little bit of the actual non-VR version. I can see why this would have won, because a lot of people were getting freaked out by playing it, and it seems to be like a pretty good recreation of the game in VR.
Could you imagine a PT in VR?
Oh God, shit my pants.
Did anyone pick up PlayStation VR while it was on sale?
No.
Were you tempted? Was it like $250 or $300 or something?
Yeah, it came on pretty cheap. Came down to like $200, I think.
I need VR to stop making me sick first.
Yeah, me too. That's why I don't get it.
One of my good buddies, Chris, got a PSVR back when it first came out, and he was like, from what I talked to him, he said there's a couple of good experiences at first, but then it was collecting dust. But in fairness, like, I feel like it's really starting to pick up now, especially the way Sony is pushing it at PSX, which is another gaming event that's happening right now. But,
well, now we're getting more and more like full games in VR rather than just like tech demo type stuff.
Last Guardian, like I mentioned,
Skyrim, Fallout 4.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the Bethesda stuff there, but Resident Evil 7 again. So it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, I think as the technology goes, I might be interested more and more, but we'll have to see. Next up was the best handheld game, and honestly, there wasn't a lot of competition.
Who else could it have been? Yeah,
I know. Metroid: Samus Returns. I finally played a demo of it at like a gaming kiosk at a mall. Actually, when I went to go pick up my niece and nephew from the last episode, I stopped and they were playing at the Nintendo one. I beat this little 7-year-old's ass in Mario Kart 8. It was so good.
I thought you were going to say you beat the game. I thought you were going to say you beat Metroid: Samus Returns while you're standing at the kiosk.
Josh, everyone, Josh. Actually, either of those stories were
I beat the
everybody.
No, to be fair, that 7-year-old was kicking everybody else's ass, and I came in and just barely beat him. So,
did you insult his mother at the same time?
I didn't need to. I thought me beating him in the game just spoke for itself,
and because his mother was right there.
Yeah,
probably.
not till she came over and was like, "Aren't you a grown man? What are you doing?"
It's okay. Yeah. So again, I don't think any of us are really shocked that Metroid won that one. Best narrative was What Remains of Edith Finch, which I don't think any of us have played, but we've heard quite a bit about it being, something we should be playing.
Yeah, I do want to try that one out.
It's going to be one that I pick up before the end of the year.
Holiday sale for sure.
And other things that were nominated for it, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which I've played a little bit of. I have to finish. Horizon Zero Dawn, as we said, we're gonna have to try and get into those. Nier Automata, which I want to talk about, but Elliot hasn't played the game.
I was slightly disappointed that it didn't win, but I've heard really good things about Edith Finch, so I wasn't annoyed. But yeah, okay.
Well,
maybe we should try to play it before our GOTY discussion as well.
Okay, let's buy more games before the end of the year, Stevo.
Yeah, stock up. No games 2018, and just hole up and play.
It's got to be done.
Yeah. So, and then next up was the best action game, which went to Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
I could see that. The first one was pretty great.
What were the other nominees for this one? There was
this one was
Destiny 2, I think.
Destiny 2, Cuphead, Neo, and Prey.
Okay.
So, Cuphead was, I guess, Cuphead you would consider an action game. It was meant to be pretty fun, pretty intense. But
I think it was very simplistic, which might have been a reason why they didn't.
Yeah.
Go.
You know what's a really interesting one having in here? Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have considered it an action game at all. It's an immersive sim, and personally, I know if I was playing that game and I played the demo, I would have approached it very stealthily.
Yeah, it's like System Shock. It's like the System Shock games, which I guess in theory are RPG or are action games, but they've got heavy RPG elements to them.
Yeah.
So again, I suppose we can see why Wolfenstein won this.
Yeah. The next one was a no-brainer. Best art direction was Cuphead.
So I thought, okay, so I agree that it should have been Cuphead, but I thought that was the first category I saw where I was like, I have no idea who's going to win this. They all have a great claim.
Yeah, they did have a lot of good ones.
Persona 5 was on there, and
it looks so gorgeous.
Yeah.
The menus, the color. I have that sitting on my bookshelf, and I haven't played it yet.
If they had a best style game, that would have been
yeah,
yeah.
It would have been the only one. But
well, that's true.
Breath of the Wild was up there too, and I was like, oh god, so many moments you just like crest the mountain as the sun comes up, and you're just like, ah.
I totally agree, Elliot. If Breath of the Wild had won that, I would have been like totally 100%. I'm behind it, but I don't know. I can see why. Art design.
Yeah.
This is art direction.
Art direction.
It's just a very unique. Cuphead's very unique in the game space as far as the way it looks.
It deserved it ultimately, but I was like, any one of these could win.
Yeah.
Next up, they had the Industry Icon Award, where they brought out Carol Shaw.
Yeah.
Who used to work on the Atari, and she worked on what was it, River Raid? I think it was called River Raid.
Yeah,
right?
it was River something. I think it was River Raid.
But she was one of the very like first females, or like one of the more prominent females in the industry back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was. I mean, it's still largely a male dominated industry, but back then even more so.
Yeah.
And so she was like, this figure who actually came out and developed these games from scratch, and they would show like how you would the level of instruction you'd have to do in order to create these games back in the day before you had stuff like C++ or even more like Objective-C, things like that.
Yeah.
They had to like programming and assembly and things like that. It's just kind of interesting to see them actually go out and recognize someone from that era.
It was great. Yeah. And the story she was telling, like back in those days, one person developed the entire game, the graphics, the programming, the audio, and it was like, man. And she told a story about like when she first got hired, her boss was like, "Oh, good, now we have a woman. Now we'll have someone to make like the knitting games and the cooking games." And it was like, man, like
and a different time, and it's great to see the Game Awards actually recognizing somebody like this, or even just the idea of recognizing people from history of gaming. Mm-hmm. This isn't something that just started this year. This isn't something started in the last 5-10 years. People like us and people even generations before of us have been playing games for decades.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of culture, and it should be recognized. And I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
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 So the next one up was the best role playing game, and this was a category where I there were at least like 3 of these that I could see going any different way. So there was Persona 5, which won, and then there was Divinity Original Sin 2, Final Fantasy 15, Nier Automata, and South Park: The Fractured Butthole. I didn't really think South Park was going to win. Final Fantasy 15, while I enjoyed it, I know it was very divisive and probably wasn't going to win. And then I have a soft spot for Nier. And then Divinity Original Sin 2, I know is just a fantastic game. Again, just for playing the bit that I've played and also just adoring the original, I would have been happy with that one. I did love Persona 5, so I can totally see why it won. It's the whole package. It's got some niggling issues here and there, but for the most part, it was just a fantastic game through and through.
What bothered me about this was they didn't have a presentation.
It's true, yeah. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, best role-playing game is Persona 5. Yeah. And moving on. So
they needed more time for ads, and they cut out role-playing game, which is such a huge thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess, Josh, you're definitely the one, the authority on the role-playing game side of things. Neither of us has played through Divinity Original Sin or 2 or Persona 5. And they're both meant to be amazing games. What I was wondering was, why is Nier Automata on this list?
It's an action RPG. There's a lot of arguments depending on like who you talk to on what makes a game more RPG than like an action game, and it really depends on things like, I mean, in my opinion, again, you'll hear a bunch of different arguments. If a lot of what you're doing on the action side is dependent on things like equipment, stat boosting effects, experience points, leveling, HP, things like that, then it kind of tends to lean more towards RPG. Whereas if you have like Wolfenstein, okay, you might get like a perk every now and again, but you don't have like stats. You know, it's just a straight up action game with extra stuff behind it.
That's a good description.
It like Zelda has been kind of like some people like RPG
it straddles the line.
Where we used to work, Josh considered Zelda the whole series RPG series, and I never really thought of it as much of one. And especially, and in some ways, Breath of the Wild is one of the like least RPG entries in Zelda Saga, but it's also the first one with like stat boosting.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of in some ways more of an RPG. I don't know. You're just labeling things at this point.
Well, if you notice, it wasn't in this list. It was action adventure.
but for me, Josh, Nier and Zelda are so much closer in terms of gameplay and what you're doing moment to moment. Okay, I know you're doing totally different things, but I'm not worrying about stats and powers and all of that in Nier Automata. Maybe people were. Do you think there was that kind of depth to it? Like, did you spend most of your time in menus?
I mean, I spent a lot of times in menus. I mean, it was one of those things where you could auto optimize and it would roughly get you where you needed to go. But I spent a lot of time organizing and making sure I was using my chips and things to the fullest. Yeah. Whereas in Zelda, your only difference is that, okay, I have different armor pieces that either increase speed, increase defense, make me swim faster, yada yada yada.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Then
Nier
weapons
was much deeper.
So it's again, there's a line somewhere, but it's depending on who you talk to, they'll tell you different where the line is. So, but yeah, like Elliot, even back when we worked at RP Gamer, I never really considered Zelda much of an RPG because it was basically, to me, like, again, we had this discussion a long time ago on, it's like a Metroid game, but different perspective. You know, you find new items which do certain different things. It's like if I'm playing Unreal Tournament and I get the pulse gun now. I mean, granted, it's all those weapons do is kill things, but you know, I've got a new weapon that this one makes bridges, or this one, you know, flings me across the map, or things like that. So it's slightly different, but it's still closer to an RPG than, say, like Unreal Tournament. So yeah, it's, again, there's a line, depends on who you talk to.
yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say Zelda's an RPG, but some people do.
Next up, I think we skipped. That was a fan game or fan thing. The most anticipated game.
What's a weird one.
What's our most anticipated game? What do you guys anticipate most of what we're not going to buy next year?
So the ones that were up for that one was Last of Us Part 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Honestly, for me, Last of Us Part 2, but all all those other ones actually seem awesome as well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a
This is a really funny one because for me, I am not sure I want The Last of Us Part 2 to even exist.
No.
I just wish they had just left it as a game in itself. The Last of Us, it was a perfect game, just leave it where it was. But if you made me look at this list and say which of them is my most anticipated, knowing that all of these are going to exist, The Last of Us Part 2.
yeah.
That's what
It's one of those things. Like, I was very happy with the way Last of Us ended. I didn't think it needed a sequel. That said, I have some faith in Naughty Dog to make a good game. So
Yeah, Naughty Dog's up there. I famously not finished the first Last of Us, and
sort your life out, Elliot. Stop playing MMOs. Please play The Last of Us.
but I would
Hurts my
say,
soul.
yeah, definitely Last of Us Part 2. God of War, which I was not anticipating until like I think it was last E3 or whenever they started. Maybe it's the last TGS when they started showing more trailers. Looks phenomenal.
It does.
Spider-Man also looks phenomenal. Red Dead Redemption 2 looks good, but it's going to be a GTA Online microtransaction bullshit game, so we'll see.
So next up, we had the best family game, which no doubt went to Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, I know with Super Mario Odyssey, they went really grim dark, and you know, Mario's got like a gun and he's just shooting Goombas in the head and all that. So I don't know. They're really stretching the family game term here, but I could see where they were coming from.
The hat possession was dark.
It's true. Yes.
That was
Remember that part where Mario's tripping balls?
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of dads had to have serious discussions with their kids after that.
this is why you don't do drugs, kids.
The next one was the best debut indie game, which again, I think everybody was expecting Cuphead to win that
Absolutely.
one.
Yep.
Yeah. There raises a question about the meaning of indie because Cuphead had millions of Microsoft dollars behind them.
It's true. That was like, I think Golf Story. I would have been really happy to see Golf Story win that.
Me too. But
yeah.
I think you guys liked Golf Story a lot more than I did. I mean, I liked it, but you guys are going crazy about it.
I could have seen Hollow Knight winning it too, but I haven't played Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Next up was the best ongoing game, which again seems an odd thing to talk about, but
this is the weirdest. This is the one where I'm like,
well, it's a game that already exists that people are still playing.
It didn't come out this year.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could an Overwatch one, which makes sense. People are still playing the hell out of Overwatch.
Rocket League.
Yes. Okay. I have all sorts of issues with this category. Like, why is this a thing? Why? Okay. So it's good to keep people playing the same game year after year. Is that what we're saying?
Well, they're recognizing the devs that keep supporting the game. You know, like it's and fair enough. Yeah, whoa, Rocket League wasn't even nominated.
That's my problem, Elliot.
Oh my
Rocket
God.
League wasn't even nominated. Now, when we talk about how games change and what happens to games, which is what I expect this is trying to reward. Like how are games that already exist being iterated upon? I look at Rocket League and I think, they're adding new modes all the time. They're adding cosmetic stuff all the time. They're listening to fan feedback and they're changing the game. Like they fixed up the fact that there were different like arena layouts because people were don't want this in
they're listening.
Competitive play. They're listening. The esports scene for Rocket League has really taken new strides this year. I mean, not that I know that much about it, but that's what I've heard.
But Blizzard's still supporting Overwatch too. I mean,
I know
they
just
new characters.
Okay, so here's where it should be. They should all be games that came out not this year. So Destiny fucking 2, which came out 2 months ago, shouldn't be on this list because you don't know how ongoing it is. PUBG isn't even fucking out yet. How's it the best ongoing game? Like, come on.
It's made an impact. It's an early access game, but
and I'm happy with it winning.
20-some million
award.
people have it on Steam. That's still something to.
And that's why it's nominated for best game of the year and best multiplayer game and best everything else, but it didn't need to be best ongoing game.
Exactly, Elliot. Destiny 2 can be like up for an award for best score in music. I respect that.
Yeah.
But why is it in best ongoing game after being out a couple of months and all of its fan base being up in arms?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going for it. Like,
No.
It was
just
nominated
not.
before the DLC came out, so
Yeah, I know, but again, this smacks of, to me, people trying to reward games that they're worried aren't going to be rewarded in other categories,
Yeah.
and that makes me worry about the integrity of everything.
yeah.
And again, I know it's harmless, and I know they're trying out something new. This is a new category, and they were seeing how it sticks. And I know that everyone's going to be criticizing it in the same way. Destiny 2, everyone's raging about it.
Yeah.
And it's up for this award. So I think next year you'll find that the things that are being nominated for it make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
think so.
let's wait it out, and I guess
Yeah.
we'll see next year.
And
But-
since Overwatch won ongoing game, it also won best esports game, which also makes sense if it's going to win ongoing.
I
assuming
could,
that-
yeah.
The definition of ongoing is fluid, but anyway. So, Stevo, best audio design went to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. You're the only one here that's played this.
It's affecting. It is really worth. If you're gonna play that game, please play it with headphones on. I've only played a half hour or so of it, or maybe closer to an hour with Nisha, and we were playing it with regular, speakers, a sound bar or whatever. I then went back and played the same section of it with headphones on, and it is spooky. It gives you chills.
So let me jump ahead really quick. So games for impact, games that left an impact on you. Hellblade also won that. So I mean, would you
And
agree? Or
I totally understand why it was up for it, and why it would have won as well. Apparently, they had lots of mental health experts advising them on the game, and the idea is that the woman that you're playing has lost her husband. She has also is suffering from dementia, is hearing voices. You can't really tell, or at least I don't feel like I can tell at the part where I'm at, whether she's being attacked by real things or if she's imagining all of this.
right?
But it feels harsh, and it feels real in the way that video games do.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it seems like it gets across pretty well because again, jumping ahead, the best performance went to Melina Juergens for playing as Senua in Hellblade.
yeah, and I wish I could comment on that more, but I've only seen like the initial couple of cut scenes. The first one, she's getting off a boat and she's entering this hellscape that she feels like this is her only option. This is where she has to go, and it seems like she knows she's going here to die, but it is, as I say, it makes the hairs stick up on the back of your neck. But she hasn't done that much talking, or maybe all the voices that she's hearing are herself.
Right.
So I guess I really have to play it all through to
Okay.
comment on it more, but I totally understand why it would be up for it and how it would have won. It's an intense game, and I'm really looking forward to going back to.
Wow. God. Yeah. And like, I'd only heard of it just by seeing like ads on websites.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, what is this? Some kind of free to play game was my first instinct. And I definitely shortchanged it. And part of that was also, I don't think that title does it any justice.
No, it really doesn't.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Hellblade. Like, I didn't think it was about like a deep look into like how mental health.
I was thinking
affects-
like a hack and slasher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
And
like,
in a way, it is pretty simple action adventure game, but there's definitely heart to it, and there's definitely raw emotion to it. It's one that we all need to play and we all need to chat about.
Okay.
That means you, Elliot, pick it up before Christmas.
I will. Yeah, I'm glad it got recognized because I didn't give it a chance there, and it's good to know.
On the other end of the spectrum, they had the best student game, basically games developed by students at various colleges and universities around the world. And there was Level Squared one, which when I saw the category, I was like, Level Squared is the only one I've ever heard of. So
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised, or I wasn't necessarily surprised, but
Do you know what kind of game it is? Do you know?
it's like it's like a puzzle type game. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I've just seen some videos and screenshots. It's a puzzle type 2D minimalist looking game.
I have to say, I really like this as a category.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool idea. I want to check out these games. Elliot, when we're facing a lull next year because we can't buy any games,
Are these
this
free?
is the list that we should be going to. I assume they're all free. Yeah,
Oh,
I would expect so.
Next up was the best fighting game, which was Injustice 2.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I don't think any of us really played any fighting games this year.
No, but
Elliot, did you play ARMS?
Oh yeah, I guess Ellie did play.
I played a demo. Like we all played the demo, didn't we? Like
Nope.
ARMS is different. This is like Injustice is like it's made by the Mortal Kombat team, and it's like DC Comics characters. And I actually have the first one, and I played that, and it's fun, you know. But it's a fighting. I'm just playing by myself. If I had like someone to play with, it'd be more fun, maybe.
If I had a friend.
Like my brother,
it's not tears.
my brother and I play fighting games. We played them as kids, and we play them when I go over. Like we play the shit out of Blur, which is not a fighting game, but we also play Soul Calibur 5. So one of the announcements, which I guess we could talk about a little bit later, was Soul Calibur 6. So I'm pretty stoked about playing that with them.
I haven't enjoyed Soul Calibur since 2. So.
Yeah, and so they're getting 6. Like they want to speed it up to the way 2 was, and it's pretty promising. I'm hearing some great things about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few more to go. So best game direction was The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which I don't think surprised anybody.
Had to be.
And of course, best action adventure was The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And then finally, so game of the year was up between.
Sorry,
what?
best. I just wanted to see what the
the action adventure games,
other nominees were for those two, because best director was also Super Mario Odyssey, so I didn't think Breath of the Wild was a shoe-in.
Oh, okay, I forgot it was up for that one. Yeah,
but yeah, anyway.
But action adventure was Breath of the Wild, Assassin's Creed Origins, Horizon Zero Dawn, Mario Odyssey, and then Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. But I mean, you have a year where both Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey came out. They're going to run wild with a bunch of things.
But Odyssey didn't win. Did it win anything at all?
No.
It won. Didn't it win? It won best family game.
Oh, yeah. Family game. But come on, they must have just created that category. Again, I have issues with that category for this very reason.
But I mean, yeah. So it was. I don't think a lot of people were really up in arms, because a lot of people went into this guessing what was going to happen. So the game of the year was between Mario Odyssey, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Legend of Zelda. Well, Zelda already beat out Horizon Zero Dawn and Mario Odyssey in the action adventure category.
Yeah.
So it was up against Persona 5 and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think we all knew which way that was going to go.
No. Let's hold up for 1 second first. Where is Nier Automata?
Well, Persona 5. Well, I guess it was different category. Which actually Nier wasn't up for a category for like best game.
That's what I'm saying, Josh. That's what I'm getting at here. Why isn't it in here? Why isn't it in this list?
I don't know. I'm disappointed, but
PUBG's in it, and it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think enough people played Nier. It was the first game was pretty niche and was a cult classic. So the sequel, I think the sequel did a lot of favors for it, the series, but I think going in, probably a lot less people played it.
And I understand, like, you're boiling down the hundreds of games that came out and picking one. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but
it's not an easy thing for any of us to do.
No,
it's not going to be an easy thing in 2 weeks' time. Like, so many of these games, even just off this list, I really enjoyed. And I know if I was to play Persona 5, I would absolutely adore it.
Yeah.
But I really wanted Nier to be nominated for this, and I'm really disappointed it isn't. But I do think that it's going to be one in years to come. More and more people are going to play it, and they are going to question this, or they're going to question, like, reviewers who work for GameSpot or IGN or whatever it is. They're going to pick, IGN's top 10 and GameSpot's top 10. And I wonder how close to the top of that Nier will be. And I wonder how many of them will play it in years to come and be like, oh, wow, that should have been higher.
Yeah.
That should have been in there.
Well,
Yeah.
who was it that recently changed their Rocket League review? Was it IGN?
IGN, I think.
They gave it like an 8.5 before, and then they updated it to like a 9.3.
Yeah.
Because of like
sets a precedent to me, which I'm not that comfortable with, but yeah.
I don't mind it. I think because they've been updating it, they've been like, and I think there's something wrong with recognizing like continued support and encouraging it that way by saying, hey, you've been working on this for the 2 years since it's been out. Let's take another look. You've earned a better score.
Well, the argument to that is like,
I think it's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this point. Should they re-review Destiny 2 right now while the shit's gone down because they messed everything up? Then should they re-review it again in a couple of months if they finally sort it all out?
It's kind of my point, but yeah.
So I think the worst thing about it, and this is the last thing I'll say because we could go on and on, is that the worst thing it does is puts like more work on the reviewers. You know, and it opens them up more to like favoritism critiques because why did you re-review this game but not this other game? And
that's
you have to re-review every game every year. Like, so I don't know why you'd open that can of worms. But yeah, so Game of the Year. Have we talked about that yet?
Yes.
Yes, we were in the middle of talking about it. We got sidetracked again.
We went back and forth. All right, yeah, Breath of the Wild absolutely deserves it.
But Elliot, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. If we were to think about one game that we laughed our asses off playing,
but
does that come into it?
No, of course. Every game up there deserves to be up there. Actually, well, I mean, I haven't played Persona or Horizon, but from what I've heard, no problems there. But man, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was like nothing else that I've played in a really long time.
Fanboy.
I mean, I guess
just own
it.
Just own it.
That was more of a Sega noise. Josh. It wasn't very Nintendo, actually.
Sega works with Nintendo now.
And fanboy doesn't work when we're talking about the game that won.
I know.
It was good. It was
Well, for me, I'm gonna finish up Horizon Zero Dawn. Could get a look in. I'm really annoyed that Nier Automata isn't here.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm gonna say about Game of the Year discussions until next time.
So that was all the awards. But during the Game Awards, they showed off a whole bunch of new games or big announcements rather for upcoming games, which they had quite a few, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of zombie games first off, which are we done with that yet?
Not quite, apparently.
I know Days Gone is coming too, but still. But a couple of the ones on there, so that I was really interested in. One of them was it was like the Metroid Prime 4 of E3 was From Software, the guys behind Demon Souls, Dark Souls. Those they teased a new title. Basically, it was like some bloody rope, and then a little blurb that said "Shadows die twice" or something like that, and that was it.
Yeah.
From Software.
Need a little more info.
Yeah. But
it'll be Demon Shadows followed up by Dark Demon, Dark Shadows, and
Dark Shadows.
Shadows Born. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be something along those lines. We'll see. But again, excited. And then what else was there? There's one of our favorite developers, Campo Santo, that made Firewatch, which we gushed over a while back, revealed their new game. What was it called? A Valley in the
Valley of Gods.
In the Valley of Gods. Sorry, in the Valley of Gods, which looks to be some sort of like Egyptian archaeology thing. I don't know. Some
expedition.
Expedition, but some. And looks like whatever the story is revolving around that.
Like they're sneaking around like after hours trying to uncover something, and
the animation looked beautiful.
Yeah.
The music was fantastic. It was powerful.
It was the one trailer song that we heard, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was really good.
There was only one. There was only one really annoying thing about that trailer, which was 2019.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, friends of the show, future guests, the Campo Santo guys.
Really looking forward to it, of course, though. And it looked like 2 female protagonists as well.
Yeah.
So it should be really fun.
Yeah. Another one, a very short one, was they showed off a little bit of the new PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds desert map. So there will actually be a new map in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds PUBG.
Miramar.
Yeah, Miramar is what they call it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to giving that one a shot. It's actually up right now on the test server, so I may want to try that, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Those are the. I mean, there are a few others, but I'll wait to chime in on those. Elliot, what about you?
Yeah, the big ones for me are the Bayonetta games being ported to Switch. Probably the worst kept secret in the industry for the last forever. With Kamiya, if you follow Hideki Kamiya's tweets, like he's been dropping hints for a long time. The 1 and 2 package, basically like the Switch or the Wii U version, where it's like 2 and then also includes 1 for free. In this case, 2 is on the card and 1's a free download. Pissed off because I have 2 for Wii U, haven't even gotten to it. I was replaying 1, but I'm gonna have to get this because it's on Switch. I can take it everywhere.
Considering I played Bayonetta 1 on PS3, which is apparently the worst version.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to playing these on Switch.
Get this one, yeah. And right after that, they did a double whammy and announced Bayonetta 3, also Switch exclusive. So
really nicely done.
Yeah, good job, Nintendo. Impressed. And it's great because 2017 has been like the best year Nintendo's ever had. Pretty much, they were just stacked with it, and then it just kind of drops off. People are like, "What's next? What's next?" I'm like, okay, well, they're coming out, guns blazing, literally, pun intended,
hair blazing.
Bayonetta 1 and 2 are coming out in February.
Yeah,
right after No Games 2018 starts. So,
good luck.
First test of my resolve. I don't know when they say Bayonetta 3 is coming out.
I don't think there was a release on that one.
Probably later. Well, definitely later. Anyway, aside from that, the Breath of the Wild second DLC finally came out.
Yep. Played a little bit of the other day.
I haven't played it yet, but the trailer looked amazing. Looks like there's a lot more story depth to it than I expected.
That's good because there was not much story in the original game.
Did you go through all the
memories? Yes.
Wow. Well, you don't need story. You just need games. Anyway, Ballad of the Guardians?
Champions Ballad.
Champions Ballad. Okay. And the last one I already touched on, Soul Calibur 6.
Yep.
Very excited about that. Soul Calibur 5 was like a 360 PS3 game, so it's been a long fucking time since we had a Soul Calibur. And the way Tekken 7 seems to be doing really well, I'm very excited for this one and playing with my bro.
What about you, Stevo?
For me, okay, I'm gonna toss a really weird one out. You're gonna be knocked over by this. Dreams was a weird Media Molecule game, they've been working on for years and years and years. We had no idea what it was. It does look similar to a Little Big Adventure in 3D.
Little Big Planet.
All types of game modes or Little Big Planet. Oh, sorry. In 3D, it's not something I'm gonna play, but it looks like it could actually be a good game, and I'm really hopeful for those guys. Mm-hmm. I've seen loads of interviews with them, and I don't know. I just wanted people to love it in the way that they love Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
I like that they showed off like the various different types of things people will be able to create in there.
Yes.
Like the different, like entire genres of stuff.
Exactly.
Like
they should have done it years ago.
Platformers, stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I was happy to see that they actually did some gameplay of that.
The other one that really caught me off guard was a game called Witchfire.
Yeah.
It's from the makers of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which I've played. And that was the first thing that flashed up on the screen.
Yeah.
And then it was like ... but also Bulletstorm and Painkiller.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And those are two completely balls to the wall action games as opposed to the walking simulator of Ethan Carter.
Yeah.
And it looked like a really atmospheric, high speed shooter. I just want to see it. I want to see what it is.
It does look interesting. I like the little bait and switch they did, though.
It was so beautiful.
Everybody's like, "Oh, walking simulator, fine, whatever. Why are there guns?"
Yeah, and also Bulletstorm.
And speaking of a well-made trailer, oh my god,
yes!
Kojima doing it again. He does it all. Okay, so we all know this by now. The Game Awards is basically a chance for Jeff Keighley and Kojima to get together and just bro out for a good 10 minutes on stage. And in this case, it was 8 minutes of a trailer of the most whacked out, crazy sci-fi you've ever seen in your life.
Yep.
I adored it. I thought it was so good. You had Norman Reedus just looking all tense and holy shit, what's going on? You had crazy puddle monsters dragging some guy away screaming. Oh man, it freaked me out. It genuinely, I was loving it.
And the giant
Kojima insanity.
Monsters floating in the air as well, like the like when it pans out at like not the actual end, but towards the end. Oh, like I can't wrap my head around what this could be.
Guys, for me, it was a cross between Metal Gear Solid, Dead Space, and Mass Effect. And I was just like, oh my god, I need this immediately.
It's just, and then Norman Reedus swallows a baby.
Yeah, he's got a baby. Oh my god, in his mouth. It makes no sense.
Do yourself a favor, because we can't do it justice explaining what the fuck happens during this trailer.
Watch it,
Go look for the Game Awards Death Stranding trailer out on YouTube, and just prepare to be not necessarily have your mind blown so much as just torn apart, because it's just it doesn't make any sense, which is the best thing and the worst thing at the same time. I know Kojima's like his stories kind of are way out there, and they're just eventually devolve into insanity. But I like that insanity.
Yeah,
I don't know what that says about me as a person, but
also just forget gravity exists. That'll make it easier to watch. Makes no sense.
Just don't know what I'm seeing. I hope it's not just Kojima being like, oh, I'm an auteur now, and I'm going to, I can do whatever I want, and it's.
I don't care. He can do whatever he wants, Elliot.
I just mean,
just let him do whatever he wants.
I hope he backs it up. I hope it's actually like my first thought was like, so this is what Konami was protecting us from like, all these years. They were watering it down, keeping most of it hidden away, and now it's the floodgates are open. We get full 100%. Unfiltered Kojima.
Yeah. But oddly enough, it might not have been the weirdest thing at the Game Awards.
Exactly.
Stevo?
I was thinking of crazy auteurs, and Kojima didn't even get close. So, Joseph Fares, who was lead designer on Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah.
A very well-received game, nice narrative. It was single player, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Very strange gameplay, but it told a very heartwarming story from what I hear. Came out to talk about A Way Out, which is interesting concept. It's a completely cooperative game. You play it split screen, either couch side by side with a friend or online. But he didn't really want to talk about the game. he really wanted to talk about, well, I think he was trying to talk about how much he loved video games.
Yeah.
But what he found himself doing was shouting, fuck the Oscars quite a bit into the screen.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how to explain this apart from, well... No, I do. I've seen Drunken Frenchman before. He was drunk. He was obviously very drunk.
He had to
be. He really cares about what he does. Somehow he was also trying to say that EA were terrible, but EA were not terrible.
Well,
which makes the whole thing a little weird to me.
It kind of makes it funny when you realize that there was an internal memo that was leaked by EA a while back that basically said, one line was like, Joseph is very passionate and can bring some, not entertainment, but we need to be wary of what he says on camera. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it's like, or he could be controversial, I think is what it says. Something like that. So, yeah, I think they knew this might be coming.
Exactly. So they must have known this might be coming. So, like, was it totally real? Was it?
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I didn't realize this was an EA game until he started talking. And he was like, EA, microtransactions. This, I'm not talking about that. That's whatever. That's bullshit. Like, they paid for my whole team's salaries for all these months to work on the game. And that's great. You know, that's what he was trying to say. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. Smooth.
He seemed like a crazy ranting person.
Yeah.
And yet, what was the takeaway from the rant? You could say the takeaway from the rant was video games are better than movies, but in a way, the takeaway from the rant was also, oh, EA fucked up with microtransactions, but they also make single player games.
They're good. They're good for me.
Oh, that's interesting. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed genuinely loaded to me. So I'm not gonna completely doubt the man.
Poor Jeff took it like a champ, though.
Yes, he did.
He was getting frustrated at the end. He was getting.
But he did. He played it well.
He did.
I really need to move on, Joseph. For the love of God, shut up.
And again, I just thought, if nothing else, it was really entertaining.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about that game is that you only need one copy to play with two people.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's so fucking great, and it's so in the light of this. Not that EA needs goodwill or anything, but in spite of all like the fucking microtransaction anti-consumer bullshit, that's amazing.
But you say in spite of it? Think about that.
Despite.
Oh, despite it. But are you sure they didn't just decide this
the
night before putting Joseph Fares on here to be like, oh, by the way, mention this and also say we're just a developer or we're just a publisher and all publishers fuck up.
Yeah. You can't trust anything. But it's more.
I think you can still trust that the man was genuinely drunk.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, anything else that was announced you guys want to talk about? I think that was mostly stuff that I was at least primarily interested in.
We've got to play some Fortnite at 50v50. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, we should give that a shot.
But yeah, I didn't really care too much about everything else. Metro Exodus looks good. World War
seen it before.
Z, don't really care. Vacation Simulator. Sea of Thieves still doesn't look.
Get the fuck out looks kind of interesting, but that
out.
name is not doing any
The best part about it was when they revealed the title. Like it was like these guys in some kind of alien cavern and some unknown force just starts coming after them and they're trying to get out and shooting at everything. It's just wild chaos. And then like the letters GTFO just like melt across the screen. Yes, that was awesome. Yeah.
All right, man.
It was a good show.
It was a great show. I've never seen one before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It had much more of an Oscar vibe to it than the Spike VGAs. Fewer celebrities, more industry. They had like industry people presenting and like known, like famous actors that were known gamers, like Zachary Levi, who had an awesome microtransaction joke when he was.
Oh yeah. Taking out his credit card to open up the ballot.
Yeah, he's like, what you need to pay? Oh fuck, fine, yeah. But yeah, and Phoenix played a song.
Yeah, they did.
So, but yeah, great show. I loved it. I was legitimately like edge of my seat, waiting to see who was like the tougher categories, like art direction and obviously game of the year. I was like, had my full attention. It was awesome. I'll watch it next year. Good job, Jeff Keighley, friend of the show, future guest.
All right, so well, for the next few weeks, we're going to be traveling, but we will still be recording, so we will not miss a single episode of Rather Be Playing.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Yeah. So we'll be out and about. We'll still be tweeting, and hopefully we'll have some time to stream some things here and there. But still look for us on iTunes or your favorite platform, and we'll still be there. So, Elliot, why don't you take us on out?
That's right. In the meantime, you can find us at ratherbecast.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at RBPcast. We have our own Twitters at RBP Elliot, at RBP Stevo, at RBP Josh. We're on YouTube. We're on twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying. That's where we usually stream. Please jump on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, where you listen to us. Give us a rating, like, subscribe, go on our website. Tell us things. Send us letters. So we'll read them on our future episodes.
Tell your friends.
Tell everyone you know. This is how we get around. We don't even have a Patreon. We're just three guys hoping you like what we're saying. Patreon.
I don't even like what I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding.
Patreon's like a dick now, apparently. So
yeah. Saw that. But all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Catch you later, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.